All right. Made it to the Mayan pyramids. We're on our tour. It's about 200 kilometers west of Cancun, in the center of the peninsula. Notice a good bit of hurricane damage even this far inland.
Come together. Let's have some background about the area. Listen, amigos. When the Spanish came, Chichen Itza, this place was already abandoned. They could, talk to some, people away in the villages, trying to find out, what happened to the Mayans. And they mentioned war. They mentioned disease. After war, usually comes disease, lack of water, disorder because they had abandoned the calendar. So the faith into the lords, which were priests, was lost. And then they had migrated, from Chichen Itza. They scattered out into the jungles. They abandoned the city. So let's say, when there's war, people goes away. Out, two cultures, Maya and Toltec. The Mayans, are the original culture that flourished over here, but they came from Guatemala. And then, the Mayans got conquered by the Toltecs, warlike people that came, from the Mexican plateau. So they brought human sacrifices. So they have, with the military forces, dominated the Mayans. They took from the Mayans the science, listen, mathematics.
Coming up on a sinkhole.
All right, come together, amigos. Come together. Let's talk about it. This is a good place for me. I don't have to jump. Come over here. The Yucatan Peninsula, from Cancun down to here, it's all limestone. So that's why you can see by the walls, look at that down there, limestone foundations, limestone all over, around. So then, in between, you see the hole, sinkhole. These sinkholes were created by nature 65 millions of years ago, when the peninsula of Yucatan was located at the base bottom of the Gulf of Mexico. Limestone, sandstone. So then, from those millions of years, the continuous rain had caused, that the surface was getting, drilled, sinking down, making cavities. There were small caves that were becoming big caves. And then within millions of years, that water, from the rain, water coming also from Mexico City, away from here 1,200 miles, that was bringing, that was causing underneath channels, rivers, springs. So that way, from here, around Chichen Itza, we have 13 sinkholes with water. They are interconnected, the most of them. In all the Yucatan Peninsula, Cancun, Yucatan, Quintana Roo State, 900 small underground rivers. We have a map that has been given to us by NASA, by satellite system. You have noticed there's plenty of water underneath. But there's one problem. There is not enough water for farming because the topsoil is only 2 inches. I am standing on limestone. So the Mayans in this difficult land for farming, they have to become very smart with the calendar. 18 months of 20 days, 360 plus 5. The year calendar was divided into 4. So that way that was to worship the 4 cardinal points. In order to know when the springtime was coming, related to Venus, they had a sundial. So that way, in the springtime, the people away in the distances in villages were coming to Chichen Itza to bring the offerings. Those offerings, in the beginning, I'm talking about 500 AD, they were casting off idols of the god of the water, Yun Shak. They were casting into the well a small goddess, listen, for the woman, Ishel, the goddess of fertility. If I translate this name Ishel, it does mean the blonde light of the morning sunshine.
It's it and it fosters the proliferation of algae. But the other one that we're going to see later, it moved over and those.
The company told me to get you some suntan, you know?
Yeah.
Over here. I'd like to show you something, you know? In December 21st, that just passed, you know, the winter solstices. The sun rises in the spring point, that corner. In June 22nd, the sun rises in that corner, you know, this temple. March 21st, the sun rises in the center. So the reason to build any model of a temple was to be related to a sundial. So then, you know, the man that lived inside was the man that wasn't able to have the holy speech to the gods in heaven, to ask for water. So the archaeologists believe that the man who lived over here was dedicating his life to worship the water god. He was named Yun Shak, a priest. The archaeologists believe also that inside that small chamber over there, that worked, you know, for a steam house during the 3rd century AD for the purification of the victims just before they were offered, you know, into the well. So then, you know, the architecture here, you know, when we talk about the job done by the Mayans, we have to be careful. When you see a temple, small, corbel arch, triangular ceiling, that one over there is completely collapsed. But I will show you one, you know, complete archway. That was built, you know, during the 5th century AD. The pillars with carvings and high reliefs shows metal craft work that was imported from the Mexican plateau by the Toltecs. So that is a different architecture. Brought it during the 10th century after. So then you can see, you know, the columns. The columns were planted to make, you know, a remodelation of the whole thing during the 13th century. And atop these columns, from column to column, they had a corbel arch in a stone. That was not possible to get it restored because many of the stones got lost, robbed by the Spaniards, used for foundations of haciendas, hotels, like the hotel where you came in. So in that way, there's a lot of remains, stones, you know, missing, and maybe they will not ever be recovered because sometimes they were, you know, burned for to make calcium during the 16th century. So nowadays, we'll talk that Chichen Itza has 17,000 temples, buildings.
The history.
Temperature is 120.
Rain every day.
No, it rains in July, August. April is dry completely. Heat reflection. Over here, amigos. Over here. Agriculture. They were bringing from those areas emeralds. Those emerald pectorals were found, you know, inside the well. So that way, in the teeth, they like to drill the teeth to put inlaid pieces of jade. So they have to have very good, you know, dentists to do that. But in the old part of Chichen Itza, and then we're going to walk to see the new part. At 2:30, you have to be outside in that.
Limestone and sandstone is dissolved into the caves. This is an old ancient Mayan road. Still following the road here. Another sinkhole.
And then if somebody give it to you, you eat it, you will believe that that's you're cracking chocolate. And those are the ones.
Another piece of the road into another sunken part.
every 5 miles distance, there was a cistern with water. Every traveler, they were bringing in the pockets, in the sacks, usually those days, pure lime powder, calcium. That calcium, it does work like chlorine. So when they stopped, aside of the water stain, they put the drops, some of this calcium, and in the next 10 minutes, it will be drinking. This is an ancient way for purification. If there's a dead animal, you pour on it lime powder, calcium. So this is what's done in the animal. Don't worry.
Sono aragne.
Oh, good. Piranhas, scorpions hang out in the caves. The road, broken as it is, enters into part of the village.
So now we talk. Only the rulers, only the priests, people, they had a tomb, a temple, for to be buried inside. So this right here, this is one of the tombs that was discovered during 1875. In the history of Chichen Itza, listen, Francisco de Montejo, Spaniard, came to here in 1528. Once that happened, Chichen Itza was forgotten. He was looking for the Golden City. Listen, Golden City. This idea gave to Disneyland the Golden City research. They were looking for the Golden City. Mr. John Stevens from New York, in the year 1842, he came, looking for the Golden City. He was helped by Francis Frederick Castlewood, English architect. He came. They mentioned that they saw tombs like this. Then, with this information that is printed in the book, Incidents of My Travel in the Yucatan Land, the Vice Consul of the United States, Mr. Thompson, Edward Thompson, during 1880, he bought Chichen Itza at $75. In those days, this place was abandoned, was overgrown completely. So he was advised by this traveler, you ought to go there, try to buy this, because it does look like this. So then, this man, returned to England, way to New York, and he brought, Mr. Iron. He was the chief of archaeology. So they started exploring, and both together they discovered, this tomb. There was, a skeleton laying over there in a fetus position, facing over the east. Same as in ancient Jerusalem. Same as the ancient Rome. With the sun rising, these tombs, they had usually a window. And then, the dead man would be having the light promise of the God above for another reincarnation after.
Continuing our tour.
Over here, amigos, over here. In our lifetime, amigos, we have usually calendars counting our ages. We were born 1960, in the Mayan days, we have the ages of the sun. 5,000 years, 5,200 years, cycles, repeated on and on. In relation of 52 weeks, 1 year, and 52 years. Those numbers 52 are exactly, this is research, 13 times 4. 13 is the position of heaven, the path of heaven above. I want you to see this over here. The planet Venus. Look, the center of the star, one side is here, one side is here, another one is here. So this is Venus, according to archaeologists. Venus does appear in the north 260 days. That is, the religious calendar, which is related to the number 13, which is related to gestation time of a human being. This is research, how they took those planets in relation of something important, water, birth, that way. They had almanacs to carry on the positions of those planets. So then, in Maya, the planet Venus is called Mayan language. Nohoch Ek. Complicated. I want you to see right here the mythological gods. There was a bird in the beginning, a quetzal. Look, quetzal feathers here, all around. Became, that quetzal a snake. There's the eye of a snake. This is, another eye destroyed. These are the teeth of the snake with the open jaws. This the earth, was the giver of life. Planting on it the first animals, the first couple of a human being from the descendants of the 13 gods. And the first couple had, twin children. One was named Ishpalanque, the other one was named Ishpalanku. The life coming from the east. In the west, the sun goes down, so the snake becomes, a jaguar to make the trip into the underworld in 10 months. So the man is related to that. He's supposed to live in the surface, worship in the daylight, and worship that jaguar in the underworld, or another pyramid to return after. Always kind of that way. Okay. This is not the main pyramid, but it's interesting, It's called the mausoleum because the archaeologists found inside 3 burials. The alignment of that pyramid is straight above, the platform. The center of that platform is called Mount Conifer. In the center, we have a round foundation that was working for some time. Putting a wood stick that had all four corners of the pyramid, always honoring the serpent god. From the bottom, you can see the big serpent eggs, and they're always 2 serpent eggs because they were twin brothers. This is interesting because if you ever go to people say that they have a mirror of this. Depends, maybe, if the one was strong, like one go, but this is another story. Everything was created from one cell that was divided.
Interesante que la prima volta lo scrive in Italia, in italiano.
Moving amongst tours.
Here in Mexico, people worship dead, not here. So they believe in life after death. So it's just skull, it's just the symbol of the journey.
Abbiamo fatto vedere che noi.
Che questa è una sbatita.
Comunque abbiamo visto.
¿Cómo se llama? ¿Porongo? Pil. This one. Todo hecho a mano. Este es price. $1. Nice try. Barato, amigo, $1.
Quadro.
take a picture, but
Un momento.
Areas people of Yucatan sunken in down in the ocean side. During 1904, archaeologists Mexican, Canadian, Korean, Italian, Spanish, they had found in the channel of Yucatan, in between Cuba and Yucatan, remains of a city sunken in down in the ocean side in depths of 1,100 feet. And the pyramids over there are of marble, not limestone. A mystery because we don't have limestone. I mean marble in Yucatan. And that is, very interesting. So this is the new discovery in archaeology. So this is the idea. Body flesh outside, mind inside. So that way, in between the two walls, there was, a staircase to go to the top and to see, throughout 8 windows, the intermediate carrier points, mid-east, mid-west. That way, there are 4 carrier points plus another 4 positions. Number 8. We know that 8 multiplied 365 days.
All right, we were unable to climb the main pyramid here due to an accident 6 days ago, so they've closed it off. The only one we get to climb is the observatory here. He's explaining also about an underwater city that was discovered off the coast of the Yucatan Peninsula that's made of marble, similar to the Egyptian pyramids, and apparently there's no marble in the general location within several hundred or several thousand miles, so it's a mystery how the marble got here. But we're going to check out the observatory.
I don't think they work with drywall.
Yeah, you talking with our tour guide. Pretty knowledgeable in the history here. This apparently went up to a platform that's been since collapsed.
That one? And the one back there.
Or the mid-level of the observatory. Are there? Because I'm a history major. I've already got my degree up in Charlotte, but I've already been to the Aztecs. I've been to the Mayans. Hopefully, I'll get to the Incas and the Egyptians in the near future. But are there any booklets? I guess that probably come later on. Where I might be able to learn more about the
Outside
history.
in your free time, we have some bookshops around and that shows,
Oh, excellent.
the
Okay.
lecture and all this. All this I'm telling you, is
Yeah, it's very
I mean,
interesting.
meetings of people, archaeologists, but in particular special because they've been all over the earth. It's not. We have two ways of to explain, I suppose, Chichen Itza.
Right.
The way only to see the carvings, why they did it, and the way to relate them into the worldwide,
Yeah, it's
and
very
the way
interesting.
to relate it into what is always above the sun god.
Mm-hmm.
So then, the man has always, been, worshiping the gods in heaven, and the king of heaven is the sun god.
Yeah.
And then through 12 hours, we have 12 plus 1, 13. So
Wow.
that became, the view of the most, Mesopotamic people.
Right.
And then they had, let's say, 12 tribes of Jerusalem plus one that got lost.
Okay. Yeah.
So then, all this historical work, that shows that the God name changes, but the name of God still is above in heaven.
Mm-hmm.
And good is good because it's the light, and good is knowledge, and knowledge is, like in Arabic, Hamsra. And a few. So then, like the Arabs in all days, there's one beautiful city of Mexico, which is Palenque, in the jungles. And when you go there, you see on the high relief cabins, like Arabs with turbans, sitting in the lotus position. And then in the temples, there are toilets. So this is, good architecture. Evolution of themselves, of sometimes, influences, we may say that. The anthropologist believes that we are copies of other cultures from 10,000 years ago. So I like to show you, this was the bath of fresh water after having the steam strong inside of that temple over there. Around here, there was a wood structure with some 5 feet high, like an adobe thatch roof, and then a straw roof. Then this was the steps, to go down, this was all completely sealed, plaster. I want you to see the remains of the aqueduct. Look, this flat stone over here. Underneath, this is an aqueduct. Look, this is the drain, see? Over here. That was bringing to here the water. From the heights of the gravity over there. So this is hidden underneath the foundations, but by gravity, the water was driven to here. So we have drawings of Francis Frederick Catherwood that came to here in 1538. And saw that partially has some water. It was working those days. Okay. So this is after the strong heat for purification. We're coming here, to take a bath, like a sauna, like a jacuzzi, So working hard, Okay, amigos, come over here, amigos. There's a lot to see, interesting. You might be lucky to find a snake on the way, This guy will help me to, kill it, all right? That big constrictor, We get it, and then you take the skin, home, Over here, amigos, over here. That's right. Come closer. I'd like to show you the Mayan corbel arch. This is a good picture. Look, this is the shape of any thatch roof house. So they developed, exactly the shape of two sides of roof, a straw in stone. So this is depicting, the beginning when the 5,000, let's say 3,000 years BC, they had the straw houses, villages only. I want you to see the research of the archaeologists. This is stone that you see right here, buried with a large angle inside. It is named shoe stone. This stone holds up the negative inclination of the roof on the gravity center of this wall. So then, they had another shoe stone to hold up the other side. Also, the waist goes, on the left side of the wall, and then above they had placed a flat stone just to cover. It is not a keystone. If you go to Rome, we were told that there's a keystone. So here, the Mayan had built it the shape of a thatch roof, but this is called earthquake roofed. Because each roof is held by, its wall over here, and it doesn't have a support above. It doesn't have a support from this wall. So those are houses built in ancient days against earthquakes. Guatemala. So this was originated in Guatemala. And then I want you to see carefully, please, that this temple here had the corbel arch above, same one over there. You see that triangular ceiling? The stone's waist was laying on wood timbers. You see the remain of the wood timber. That is original. That was passing from there above the columns all the way. So there was one ceiling triangular above here. There was another one over here. There was another one over there. This is a hybrid of the architecture. This is Maya Toltec. Mayan roof, columns are Toltec. So this is the time, when the Mayans got conquered by the Toltecs and they began with human sacrifices. But this was all indoor. And they had an altar. Please come this way. Then, they had statues of the rain god, of the god of war, Ixchel, the god of fertility in the morning, birth. They had the face of Quetzalcoatl, feather serpent god, and aside they had warriors sitting, the council of warriors. So this is the time when they had warriors already. So this was indoor. I want you to have a chance to touch, a piece of wood. Come together, amigos. It will give you to you, 100% of happiness. An ancient piece of the lentils. The inside rings, they've been studied by, good archaeologists. So it shows the age of the tree. So in that way, knows that this, is old 1,200 years. Knows also that with the rings, how much waterfall was coming, on Yucatan. It was coming, I tell you, 33, 32, 90 inches of rain in all days. At the moment, we have 30 inches of rain only. It does mean that the trees were twice as much bigger. The ironwood, they had heights of 150 feet. We don't have any of this, ironwood around. We know that this wood, is from the chewing gum tree. In North America, it's called ironwood. It may last 2,000 years. It becomes almost, like a stone. Okay? You may touch it. And good luck, for sure, for 100 years, Okay? I want you to meet the ring god. That is the ring god face on the corner. Can you see the face over there? There's the nose. There's the open mouth of the underneath of the nose. Up above you see one eye. On the left hand side you see the ears. Can you see the square ears? Over there? Can you see the stone coming out from the ear of the ring god? That is a phallic symbol. You know what a phallic symbol is, right? Everybody? You see? Okay. Some other people say, no, I don't see it. That is very complicated, So then, imagine, when the Franciscan monks came with the Spaniards, they saw phallic symbols. So right away, they had put in their mind, this is paganism. After that, they saw snakes carved out on the temples. That was the devil's symbol. Because that, they had, asked to the Inquisition to come and wipe off, all the area from, the bad Mayans, which they were making, witchcraft. Because that, 100,000 people, nobles, were banished, decapitated, burned, and purified that way. And then, the books of the Mayans were burned. 90%. 10% remains in the worldwide. And because from those we have this information, about, how they live, how they call the gods. So this is one temple. Come over here, amigos, please. One picture this way.
Yeah.
That's what I said when I first heard it.
Yeah. That's the card. Oh, okay.
I don't know if it is.
Come over here, amigos. Please. Over here, this way. On the way out, we're going to stop for a cold drink, okay? I'd like to show you, this is one of the old temples in Chichen Itza. I want you to see the statue of the high priest, which is seated like Buddha. Have you noticed that? I want you to see, on the right side of this facade, 6 backs of the rain gun. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. On the left side, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. 6 plus 6, number 12. 12 months in 1 year, plus the sun god in the center. 12 hours in the daylight, plus the sun god at noontime. To allow the life in a good condition on the surface. When they were coming out, they were counting hours, they were counting months, they were locating that with the 4 seasons, and they were looking for the 7th month, which is the springtime. And this is interesting because it's cosmos, always. In honor of fertility, in honor of an eclipse of the sun, something like that, So this is interesting because if you ever go to Thailand, they have temples like this. And instead of showing jaguar, big mouth open like that for doorways, they have dragons. Open mouth, symbolizing the earth gods also. So this is the influences of Asiatic into the Mayans. So then, they are hieroglyphics. Come closer, I show you. I want to show you the hieroglyphics. Look at this. They were writing, from the bottom to the top. Bottom to the top, bottom to the top. Mr. Sir Eric Thompson from England, he classified 988 hieroglyphics, an alphabet that big. So then, only 5% of the Mayan nobles, they knew how to write, how to read, to make books. I mean, they had the text of the cosmos, and they were reading it like that. They like to put, on this stone stelas, sometimes on wood, lintels, sometimes on paper, books. The days of eclipse of the sun, the days of when the children were born, when they had died, when they had a victory, a war. So then, according to Mr. Sir Eric Thompson, there's the date on the right side over there, 620 AD. That is the end of one period of 20 years. According to another archaeologist, Mr. Gallo de la Cadena, brought it to here by UNESCO. This man speaks 80 languages. When he's mad, with the wife, he speaks Chinese. So he says, we need, 2 people to argue, So if I speak Chinese, she doesn't argue to me, because I don't understand her, So anyway, he believes that, here's the example. He lived the Ahau, the son descendant of the snake. Na, head of the warriors, Kokom. Kokom was the last name of this man that conquered Chichen Itza during the 10th century. And then, this was refixed, remodeled, and was put, as a time of victory of the Toltecs on, the Mayan culture. Like in England, sometimes the shows, he was Charles V of England that conquered this and added, for the kingdom, for better, health. So in that way, they were put in these commemorations, as usual, like today. So this is, something to know. I want you to see carefully, corn above the face of the sun god, featuring total, the face of the open mouth of a jaguar. These are the teeth. This is the ears. There were phallic symbols here. These earrings were, are showing corn cobs. So the corn was a product of the earth. So that way people were coming to worship to the gods in order to have, good proper corn only. They didn't have Walmart. They couldn't go and buy products from away. Now it's everything imported. But they were living to worship Mother Earth only. And that was related to all this iconography that you see. What you see on the right is on the left. The rule of symmetry. It's life in the surface, life in the underwater. Okay? Please, let's come inside over here to see something inside.
Wow, see, we caught you guys.
I said somebody is lost, the Mayan, souls. You want to go in there? We want to go? Not too far away. This way.
Not too far. You want to hear about those bugs they have in there?
I'm trying to see if there are some guys.
Oh, there might be bugs.
Over here, amigos. Over here. Over here. The archaeology is Mexican, North American, from all over England also. They had, help to doing this diggings. So we have the croquis map, plastic, that shows that there are, 5 superimposed temples overbuilt above. So this is the temple number 2, and there are, 4 more temples added. So this wall was in the outer. during the 5th century. So this, you know, we don't advise people to go in.
Just go in.
No, only this place is here because they're cleaning up by the guys in the morning because it could be, you know, a snake, could be a big spider. You know. And then it's better not to go there. But here is clean usually in the morning. So this chamber is where all the idols, all the old gods were buried.
Yeah.
So their spirits remain. So they believe that this spirit remains inside. They're called illusions. Yeah, that's
No, no, they don't, it's
Yeah,
not.
it's-
That's what it's at home. Yeah.
pretty well, you know, decorated. On the corners, the rain god, in the center, the rain god. And on the facade, look carefully. There is a small niche on the left side showing two men gods, you know, anthropomorphic design. Look, the first statue on the left-hand side is the man armadillo. The second one to the right is the man snail. I want you to notice that those are sitting, those men, you know, in the lotus position. On the right-hand side, you see a man turtle,
Yeah.
the turtle. And then the first one is the man rabbit. The man rabbit is the god of the north. The man turtle is the god of the south. The man snail is the god of the west. And the man armadillo is the god holder of the east side. So that way they believe that they were like Atlas, holding up, you know, this corners of earth. 4 elements: water, fire, wind, and earth. 4 colors: red is the east, black is the west, white is the north, yellow is, you know, the south, blue the sky, black the underworld. ¿Qué pasó, niño?
¿Qué cuestan las playeras? Sí, también.
Mira, obsidian.
¿Qué cuestan las tortugas?
¿Cuál, amiguita? ¿Cuál te
La azul,
Esta.
la de arriba.
Ah, esta. 2.80. Sí, es obsidiana, turquesa, sí, y este es